Now we're going to start working on the back of the car. So I'm going to press tab to go to edit mode and press the period key to focus in on the back of this area. And I'm just going to select one of these vertices. And actually, what I wanted to do first, let's just Alt right click on this and do Shift H to hide everything else. And then select one of these vertices and press Control 1 to go to back view. And one thing actually that I wanted to do was to better curve this area because it doesn't follow along as good as it should. So I'm going to press Alt H to unhide everything and do Control 1 again just to stay in back view. And what we want to do is take all of these vertices except for this one. So do select one of these vertices, C for circle, select, and get the rest. And just pull this out a little bit more to better match with the outer curvature here. And then do the same for the rest of these vertices, just pull them out some. And perhaps just move, well, I think we're not going to move this one, so I'm just going to right click. I think that one's going to stay where it is. But now we want to do that hiding process again, so just Alt right click, Shift H, select this bottom vertex, Control 1 for back view. So we're just going to make this back part a separate piece for now, so we're just going to do, well actually let me see, this looks kind of, okay, the first thing we actually wanted to do is Alt right click on this, and then E to extrude, right click to cancel, bring this back, and do S, Y, and then 0, and then press enter. That'll make this perfectly flat on the y-axis. And then just bring it to match up with this line here. And I'm just going to do Alt H again because I just remembered we have to straighten these out too. So do Alt and right click here, S, Y, and then 0, and press enter. You can reposition this a little if you need to. And I think I'll just leave these as is. So now we want to Alt right click on this, Shift H. And we're going to select these vertices and bring them up until the bottom one lines up with this bottom part here. And now we should be good to select this vertex, Control 1 for back view, Shift D to duplicate, right click to cancel, and bring it over to about here to kind of line up with this right here, which is this part right down here. This part of the bumper you can see is separate from the rest of it, so we're going to try to make this part of the bumper first, and then we'll continue with the rest of it. So we want to go up and then down and then straight across. So we're going to do E to extrude, right click to cancel, and then drag it straight up. And then E to extrude, right click to cancel, and G to move it. E to extrude, right click to cancel, and drag it to the center. Then we want to bring it over a little and then up on this diagonal, because you can see it goes over slightly, then it goes up on a diagonal, and then straight across. So E to extrude, right click to cancel, bring it over slightly, E to extrude, bring it up to this point, then E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring it to the center. This will give us the geometry that we need. We can even fill in this area by selecting these 4, pressing F, selecting these 3, pressing F, and then selecting these 4 and pressing F. This bottom part just goes straight across, so we can just bring it straight across. So we can take this vertex, E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring it straight across. And then we need to do an inset and bring this piece inward. So it's going to be easier if we just make this into a face first. So we need to select these vertices, press F, and then we can do I and then B and do a small inset here. And I may even want to move these vertices up slightly to better match with the reference. And then go to face select and select this face. So we need to inset it a bit and then pull it back. So we're going to do I and then B to inset it a little. And then press period to focus in on this and just pull this back some to try to match the, oops, it actually pulled it in the wrong direction, so I have to go in this direction. Until you have that, which is kind of similar to what we have, but we actually need to turn on smooth shading, and then we're going to need to correct the shading on this in edit mode by doing I and then B and doing a small inset to help correct the shading there, so you have this area that looks similar to this area for now. So we're going to do Control 1 and tab back into edit mode, go back to vertex select and Z for wireframe. So next we can see this goes out to the edge of the light. So this part would go out to here and even beyond that, but we can stop at the light for now. So we're going to E to extrude, bring this out to the light. And we also need another set of vertices here, so we're going to do Control R, left click, and then G to move this into position. And then E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring this straight down because it looks like this needs to go straight down. And then while you're moving it on the Z axis, hold Control and snap it to this point. You can see here best on this side that there's like this crease point here about halfway where this light is, which is what this is. So we do want a straight line here to create that crease point, and then fill in this area here by selecting these four and pressing F. And it looks like we can just bring this down to here. So we can do E to extrude with this one selected and then snap it down to this bottom vertex and fill in this area by pressing F. And we're going to need another set of vertices here. And the reason for that is because we have this flatter section between these two areas that continues all the way down the light. And if you look up here, you can even see that it continues along the back of the bus here too, this flatter area. So we need another set of vertices to continue along this. So just do Control R, left click, and move it into position. Then we can take all three of these and E to extrude, right click to cancel, and just bring them up to the bottom of the light for this one, and then on this one match it up, as well as this one match it up. And then we can take these three, E to extrude, right click to cancel, and continue bringing them straight up. If we wanted to match the reference a little better, we could move these over slightly, but we'd have to move all of these over slightly, so it's not really important if it matches up perfectly. just as long as it's in a straight line, it should look correct. So the next thing to look at is at the top of the light. It's actually pretty flat. So we want to make sure that these two vertices are in line on the z-axis. So I'm going to grab this on the z-axis, hold control and snap it to this point. And I'm actually going to select both of them and reposition them to be a better match. And then I'm going to do Control R, left click, right click. And this is just to add more curvature to this area here. So just selecting this vertex, G to grab, and creating a better curvature for the top of the light. Another thing to be aware of is at the bottom it actually starts to curve back underneath the bus. So you can tell that right about here is where it starts to curl back under the bus. So approximately here or so. So what we can do is do K for a knife cut, get it to where you want it, approximately the height you want, left click, and then bring it over towards the middle and press C. That's going to enable the angle constraint and make a perfectly straight line. Then left click again and press enter, and that's going to give us this cut so that we can move the bottom vertices inward, but the rest of this won't be affected. So we can go to side view by pressing 3. And before we do this, what we should do actually is do select linked to get the whole back of the bus. And then in side view, you want to just bring it back to match up with the back of the bus. And then select one of these bottom vertices, C for circle select, and select all of them. You can see from back view that we got all these. And then bring it in slightly and perhaps up slightly to match up with the reference. So this is a good point to save, so we're just going to go to File and Save.